Hi there. Welcome to part 3 of the milling tool walkthrough. This is the third video covering this topic. So if you missed the other two, we discuss a lot of the basic concepts and parameters that go into building single tool components, as well as user representations. Feel free to go back if needed, as it does provide a foundational understanding of how we build cutting tools. Now, if you follow along with us up to this point, we are going to take all that we've learned and build what is considered to be an essential object used in the 3D Experience machining application, the complete tool assembly. But before we go through the walkthrough, we should discuss assemblies, since you might already be asking, why do we even need them? Well, if you've been in the machining world for a while, you've probably experienced programming with a simple theoretical tool, as it was a traditional method to representing tools in early CAM systems. And while that method is capable of doing a fine job, the reasons for using an assembly become pretty obvious from a digital twin perspective. Realism requires that we consider things like stick-out lengths, component combinations, and other factors. And without assemblies, it would be hard to anticipate other things, like travel limits or interference within the machine. Imagine going through all the programming, physical setup of a job, only to find out something is likely to crash. A realistic simulation environment helps validate these things and prevents a lot of wasted time and effort. Now our tools are digitally represented, so if the length isn't ideal, we do what we do, just like in the real life. We make an adjustment. Fortunately, we have assembly parameters, and these help us sustain, manage, and communicate this particular tooling setup. These assemblies allow tools to be flexibly employed all around the shop with the appropriate parameters in use. So we just went through a few reasons why you want to use tool assemblies. Now is as good a time as any to show you how to make one. We're going to start by creating a typical end mill assembly, and to do that, we'll need to make a prismatic tool holder. I'm going to assemble it with the end mill from our previous video. And then we'll create an indexable tool, which is an assembly of inserts and a milling tool body. Once those are done, we're going to break down some of the parameters of our assemblies. And then we're going to go over some of the ways how we can manage our ever-growing collection of tools that we create. All right, so if you're ready to make some assemblies, let's grab a tool list and get started. Now the first thing we're going to do is click on the Resource Creation button, and then click on Create Tool Assembly. There are a couple ways to start the process. You can either build a tool, but this time we're going to launch the search panel. With every search panel, you're going to be able to access your history and whatever tabs are also open during this current session. For our search panel, I've decided to go with the component criteria, and we're going to look for a milling tool, which is an end mill. For our size, I've given it a nominal diameter of about 1/4 inch. I found my user rep example here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it and then select OK. The tool is going to pop up, and I'm going to rename it real quickly. Now we'll move on to adding a holder. Let's go ahead and click on the plus sign to add a component. To create a holder, you just simply fill out the geometry, just like you've done with all the other tools you've made before. For holders, we have stages, and they represent the different outer diameters of a tool. By default, a single tool is limited to 5 stages. But if you have a tool that has more than 5, you can potentially make multiple tool holders and combine them to represent a single tool. For each stage, there's a diameter and a corresponding cone diameter, which provides a taper. So we'll be moving from the bottom up. We have a diameter, and then another diameter that creates the cone. For technology, we have our gauge steps, and they represent how much the length of the tool can be secured into the holder. Next, we have the attachment type, and I'm just going to go ahead and create one for the machine side. This is optional. Last is the part body color. Now let's go ahead and click on OK to accept all of our parameters, and then click on OK once more to finalize the build. All right, so now we have our tool components represented here. Let's click on the parameters for the entire assembly to see what we have. For the assembly technology, we have our tool number. Define whether or not the tool is powered. This one will be. And configure the gauge between our two components. Our feeds and speeds are just like we've seen before. You can check out our other videos to see the breakdown. One thing to note is that feeds and speeds exist at almost every component, but the feeds and speeds at the assembly level usually override the others. The same hierarchy rule applies for compensation. And you'll go ahead and click on the plus button to apply any new compensation. I'm going to click on OK to accept the parameters for this assembly. Then I'll do a quick rename. We'll click OK once again to complete the build of our first assembly. Congratulations! You've got a full functional assembly. You can start using this in your programs. For our next assembly, let's move on to indexable tools. Like before, I'm going to create a tool assembly. I'll go to the drop-down in the milling items, but this time I'm going to activate the Create Mill Insert Holder function. And with that activated, I'm going to select my tool type. We're going to go with the face mill. The geometry section of this holder is pretty standard like before, so I'm going to just leave it default. For the technology, a lot of the parameters are going to be very familiar. Gauge insert is where you define the parameters for expected inserts. Notice that there's a plus sign. You can actually create more than one class of insert for this tool. Now remember that these parameters will limit what can be used. So when you set them here, they define the compatibility of insert geometry to tool. If you don't want any of these parameters to affect your choices, simply leave them as 0 to nullify them. The rest of the sections here are much like all the others that we've seen. We'll have our feeds and speeds, compensation, attachment, and part body color, and they all work just like they did before. Let's click on OK to accept the parameters, and OK again to complete the build of this tool. With the tool built, we're immediately brought into the insert creation. Now notice how we're only able to make a square insert. That's because I set that in the tool we just created. The parameters for this insert are pretty standard though, so I'm going to leave them all as default. Click on OK for the parameters and for the insert build to eventually bring us to the two components completed and assembled together. We can continue to add to this to make it fully functional. I'm going to click on the plus sign to search for a holder. All right, our first indexable milling tool. I'll do a quick rename right here and then finalize this assembly. You now have a couple tools in your manufacturing cell. Since that's the case, we might as well get started with organizing our tools and thinking about how we're going to implement them. I can right-click any assembly or component here and send it to a bookmark. You can create a new bookmark with a bookmark name and class, or update an existing bookmark. Bookmarks are organized like any other file-based structure, which means that you can create folders and subfolders to organize your tools. You can also search through the database through the name of your bookmark. Now, using a search function is great for finding single tools or assemblies. And in the event that you need to grab more than one tool, you can multi-pick them. But another way to bring in multiple tools at once is to use your machining cell. You can consider a machining cell to be like a container, of which you can take a bunch of tools and group them together. And anytime you import a cell into a cell, the only thing that moves into the new cell are the resources, which are essentially the tools, a machine, or fixtures.